Go to the crowd, come in. Good morning. Happy Friday. It's finally Friday. I've been thinking it's Friday all week. I was looking forward to today. Here we go. Where is everybody? Accountability Day, people don't show up? That's what happens, right? Chris, you want to make a little announcement what happened last night? Just so everybody online knows.
Yeah, no, I just sent an email out to the Sun City team. We just had a random act of vandalism on the exterior doors at the office. It looks like some people came through and kicked a couple exterior spotlights and knocked over a sign and then wrote on some of the doors. So we're getting that cleaned up ASAP. But if anybody uses the Sun City office, there's some vulgarity on some of the doors, which we're getting cleaned up and taken care of. And it happened late overnight. So just take care when accessing the buildings after hours.
Yep. And that makes sense for every office we have. You never know. There's punks out everywhere. So
Correct. Yeah.
Definitely some slanderous remarks been made. So, all right. I'm a little leery to get started, but it's a small group, 16 people. So thanks to the 16 people that showed up. Admit.
We'll have 50 in about 4 minutes.
Right. Apes coming in. Where's Jessica Beggins? Escaping accountability, I see. It's hard to be a Beggins, right, Mom? Where'd Puma go? I'll check him in. Jeff turning on. Yeah, we're going to do a class on Zoom etiquette pretty soon. Jimmy and I talked about that yesterday. I hate making the people that are on time penalizing them. So I think what we'll do is go ahead and start. But I saw Puma coming in. I don't see him on the list. There he is. And Joe Diener, I saw you come in. There he is. There's iPhone 127.
I am here.
We got iPhone 127 coming in. Oh, I'm such a jerk. All right. Jeff, you want to entertain us for a minute while we talk about what you're working on in Miami?
Yes. So yeah, sitting here in Miami. And before we get some meeting started, we had a great first meeting with our new office down here, which is awesome. So there's a current office, Sector 21 Continental, that is no longer Continental as of Tuesday. They'll be part of our family. So we met a bunch of the agents yesterday. We got one more meeting today at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we head back. It's exciting. Whole new market, whole new team. It was fun because they shared an email that one of the brokers shared out to the team about the meeting that we have coming in, when he kind of let them know what was happening. And it was interesting. The summary of it was, these guys are really good. And we had to make a choice, either try to compete with them or join them. And there's no way we could compete. So this is the best way to give you guys the systems, the tools to compete in the marketplace. Pretty interesting towards that. So it's fun. So now, and the prices, it's unbelievable, man. To get anything on the water here is $7 million for a teardown. You can't even for under $7 million. And that's not beachfront. That's just somewhere where there's a boat access there. It's unreal.
Tell me about the traffic lights. What do you think of the traffic lights?
Oh, we were sitting in one of the traffic lights yesterday, and Puma's like, wait a second. It's like 200,000, 200,000, 300,000. There's a $400,000 G-Wagon. There's a Bentley. There's a Rolls
over
Royce.
$1 million of cars pass us in just that one stoplight. I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely insane.
And an interior home 2 or 3 miles from even the canals are $2 million just to get started.
Yeah, I mean, I asked how much the Pelican homes that we're building for $4 million on water. I asked what that would be over here, and they said easily 10 million. Easily.
10 to 15 million bucks.
Yeah.
sometimes you got to go outside of your market and look and go, wow. Right? We're selling cheap stuff. Jeff and I did an interview with a couple guys and looking at beach projects yesterday by Zoom. And even Sarasota and Bradenton, double the prices of what we got here.
Well, it's
So-
like you said, though, sometimes the worst thing we have is a memory. We remember what the prices were here and in St. Pete, and we just remember what they were, and we see how much they've changed. And we have to acknowledge that change in the value that our area brings, because we bring a tremendous value at an amazing price for the opportunities when you start comparing it to other places.
Yeah. Go check out for fun after this meeting. Go to a Zillow and look up Peoria, Illinois. Just for fun, and look at their dollar per square foot, what they're selling houses for. I mean, you make fun of places like Peoria, Illinois. And here it is going to be, well, it's 66 and sunny now, but it'll be 75 or 80 today and sunny in February. So it's all good stuff. There she is. Okay, so thoughts. So that's kind of the purpose, guys. All we want you to do is engage and have conversations. So I think we set off a pretty easy task last week, right? Hey, you're in my phone. I'm probably in your phone. You know my name. Hey, Mike, I haven't thought about, I was just thinking about you. What's going on in your world? Send. How many of you did a couple of those? By hands, by video? Cool. Any responses that led to a conversation? Brian, you raised your hand.
Yeah, actually, I had a great time with it. It was because I really haven't reached out to my past buyers in that way. So I had categorized them in Moxie. So it was easy to pull up the past buyers, and then just started sending out, I think it was the message that Jeff gave on Monday, which was very simple. And what amazed me was I actually got responses from it. And I think I was more surprised by that than anything else. Because I would expect that people would forget you over time. And it was one of these, hi, Brian, great to hear from you. And how's everything going kind of thing. So we started dialogues with each of them. And it was deliberately no real estate discussion on my part. And it was really just a hi, goodbye. How are you? Is everything well with the family? And we still love our house. It's great. Nobody said they were ready to move yet, but the purpose was to put you top of mind. And so that was a lot of fun. And I continue to do it, and it's great. I ended up probably doing it the hard way, because I took the list of buyers and exported them to Excel and just printed out that page and checked it down, because I haven't figured out how to get the detail back into Moxie yet, but that's all right. Good.
Can't we just text right out of Moxie? I think you
I
gotta
don't
pay
think you
something.
can, you have to do don't you have to create an e-blast or something like that? And I'm not quite,
Yeah, no, I
I'm
think
not good at
texting-
yet.
Texting, I think you have to pay for another service if you want to go to that level and actually text from Moxie.
But then it would actually queue it in for you that you did it and log it as a transaction and keep you current with your leads, but we'll check
It
more
would,
into that.
but it's kind of,
Jimmy?
it's a little bit awkward to do it that way. It's all.
Right.
I think Jimmy said you can do it with an e-blast, create your own and put the details in. I did not do that. Took the easy route.
Yeah,
know
I
Excel.
think you took the more effective route though. It's in your phone now and you can see the responses back and forth. So give us a tap,
Right.
a tip, like how many did you send and how many did you engage with? What do you think?
Actually, because I got stopped in the middle of it here, I only engaged 12 and 5 responded, which I thought was incredible.
Really good.
And yeah, all very positive. And I'll continue that today and tomorrow. So then we were farming yesterday. So of the 30 contacts that we made in farming, 5 we had definite connections with and discussed. So so all in all, it was a good week so far, and it's not done yet.
Yeah,
Open
so you
house
got
tomorrow,
17
and
to 25 done.
right,
Awesome. Proud of you. Good job.
we'll get them all.
Who else raised their hand? I got a short-term memory. Oh, you chickens. All right, Ape, what's going on?
Good morning. I reached out to using the text. I modified it a little bit, just made the preference of, I'm updating the contacts in my phone because I've had them for so long and thinking of you. So I thought I'd reach out. I reached out to 32 last week.
Nice.
I had a couple of definite wrong numbers, a couple of who the heck are yous, and had about seven good conversations. Purposely stayed away from real estate for a little bit, and then a couple of them led to real estate, but those were guys that already knew from watching me on Facebook, even though we hadn't talked in a while, and wished me the best and told me they'd reach out if they ever needed me, kind of thing. But I got out there and did that much of it. And I didn't realize how many I had in my phone until I used the Covey app and downloaded them all, but I got a ways to go to keep hitting a bunch more.
Awesome, proud of you. Now, you were a little scared, probably, you're newer in the business. Did you feel more confident now that you did it, or are you more afraid because you did it?
I don't know that I was necessarily afraid. I've never been a cold call or cold contact kind of guy, so it was a little nerve wracking at first, but I just sat down the first day at lunch and started going through the Excel sheet that I downloaded and exported. And after the first couple, it was pretty easy, just like copy paste and put in their name, and it felt pretty easy and kept going. And then when a few of them reached back and it just got easier and easier. It wasn't so much a nervous, it was just a get started kind of thing. But
Exactly.
I also got out and about and had a few conversations with people this week, which made it a little bit easier. I've made a habit now of wearing my name tag everywhere I go again, hoping that strikes up a conversation. And then I am doing open house tomorrow and Sunday for another agent here in the office, both days again. So I'm excited to get more active for sure.
Awesome. That says a lot of words, and that's really what we're striving for, right? Get out of the comfort zone, right? Here's your comfort zone. We don't want to get out of your comfort zone. We want to expand your comfort zone, right? So you tried something you weren't really comfortable with, and you realized, oh, that doesn't hurt too bad. So your zone expanded a little bit, right? And now you're more comfortable, so you can get bigger and bigger. And that's kind of the process. Just get through it all and realize, oh, this doesn't hurt too bad, right? Because there's business there for the taking. There's lots of business there for the taking.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Gigi, how about you? You usually comment. If I offend you, but just say, Craig, I don't want to talk now, then it's fine. I won't take any offense. You're muted though.
One thing that I'm really excited about is I had somebody referred someone to me who needed to rent, but they couldn't afford to rent anything. So I just said, maybe you can buy, and this person just for sure thought there's no way they could. So I said, will you talk to someone? Will you talk to, a loan officer that I know really well? And, she's helped a lot of people like you actually be able to, because this was one of my things that I'd like to help people who think they can't get approved.
Right.
A lot of people just think they can't, and a lot of them might be able to. There's a lot of programs, and he's VA and for a first-time home buyer. So, I set up a meeting and they talk to each other, and it's looking pretty good. So I'm really excited about that, because that's really like my first, this will be maybe my first, hopefully, buyer. But what I did? I got on Present, and I got a template set up, and I sent out maybe 6 or 7 CMAs last week, but I have all my verbiage all set up and a template all set up now. And I have got a stack of like 35. I always talk about I do absentee owners with their emails. So that's kind of my goal to work on this weekend.
Awesome.
So.
Right. And I just want to make sure the expectation is set, because we've been extremely lucky that a lot of our short-term efforts have resulted in short-term gain. But I want you to remember the short-term efforts generally result in long-term gain. So it's a long tail play. So you start it today, don't expect a deal next week, expect a deal 3 or 4 months from now, because you're planting seeds. Like I just planted my garden last Sunday. I'm not going to have any kale or broccoli until probably July, right? But I planted the seeds, and now I'm going to nourish those seeds. I'm going to water them, and I'm going to do all that stuff. And I'm going to see little sprouts coming up, and they're going to get ready. And that's what Moxie is going to do. It's going to track them and watch their activities. If you get them actually shopping on your website, it's going to cue you in. Does it give them a score and how good they are? And then you're gonna be able to see what you're looking at and think, oh, wow, you are hot on Madeira Beach and all of a sudden you're looking at Treasure Island. Interesting, right? And just really say, hey, I noticed you changed your criteria. I'm not stalking on you, but yeah, that's this whole Moxie suite of services is designed to work in tandem. Right, so we're baby stepping it into the classes and you're actually getting you into the basics of it, right? So it's very cool. So the CRM is Moxie Engage and you're starting to use that now. And as you get updates, it's going to be real important to add your comments to your CRM because 6 months from now, you're going to forget about the guy, Brian, you met and had a good conversation with. Right, so if you don't go in and make your notes, it's going to be a problem 6 months from now. We don't want that to become a problem now. That make sense?
So I didn't get a clear answer for the beginning on how many people did the 25 text messages. And guys, I think you can all agree that that task couldn't have been any less, what's the word? Difficult, right?
Objectionable. There's no objections for us or for the person you're sending the message.
Correct.
It's
Yeah, the only rejection you get is that you no reply.
No friction, no rejection, nothing at all in this message. And we did it on purpose. So just as a show of hands, and be honest, how many of you did the 25? Hey, how you doing? Just thinking about you. Hope all is well.
Drea did, Louisa did, David did, Jackie did. What about page 2? Those static pictures. Jessica, I don't see your hand up, baby. You were out of town, I know. I sent mine through Messenger and I had already contacted most people on my phone. Okay, good. Jennifer. Andrea, how about your results? How did you feel? Did you get, how many messages did you have to send to get 25 people to engage with you? Just so you guys had the expectation.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I think was it Georgia that just spoke last? I apologize, but anyways, I went a little bit, I'm going a little bit like Georgia. So I used the text message, hey, how you doing? Like you mentioned, but we're also having a buyer seminar next Thursday in the Brandon. So I've been reaching out, honestly, this past week, last couple of weeks, probably at least 100 that I've reached out, my past buyers that FHA, I'm using the DPA program. So FHA that I wasn't able because of the market and what we went through there the last couple of years, reaching out to them, telling them, hey, I have, a program I've been helping first time home buyers connect with me type of thing. And so I've been reaching out to my past and also going into my home partners and my Divvy and
Excellent.
sending them. And out of that, I have received quite a few feedback like, hey, how you doing? Some of people didn't know me, who is this type of thing, or they've already purchased or whatever. And but I got a lead out of it, which was nice. And we've been communicating since coming in from California. So that one's going to be coming in on the third quarter. She'll be there next month to meet me and go over. But I've received, I think, 4 that I've pushed to the DPA and with the lender that is currently in the approval phase that I knew. And then 2 of them are reconnecting and going back at it where they were very discouraged with the market that we had. So yeah, I've gotten really good results. And one of them I actually have, she wants to move in 6 months. So I have a listing preview next week. And also I wanted to share another thing. I received a lead. I actually have a listing preview tomorrow in Parrish. And I've been going in, and I did when I was doing my CMA, I noticed it's in a community. I noticed when it pulled up the comps, there were several off market. There was like 14 off market. So I wrote them down and then I cross-referenced them to Remine and MLS to see. Some of them were listed now, some of them they were either off market with canceled, unconditional, or expired. But out of that 14, I have 6. So I got the CMAs, they're all ready. And when I go to my listing preview tomorrow, I'll be dropping them off at their doorstops. So
Awesome.
they're in the community, but I wanted to share that. I was amazed. I'm like, oh my God, look at all the off market by one address that I put in there.
Yes.
You know, I'm going that way anyways. So I'm dropping 6 off. I didn't do the ones that were maybe within a year and their prices when the comps came up, right? There's no way. There's no way. And, you know, they're in la la land. So I attempted more staying with the ones when I went into Remine, maybe it was 2-3 months ago. I'm like, I said, oh my God, that's the price right now, you know, because we cross-reference and I did the comp. So I'm really excited about Moxie doing that. That's a great opportunity.
Awesome. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, what were you gonna say?
I was just say that's perfect. In the last year, there's a lot of people who put their home on the market for 2 weeks,
months.
30 days, 3 months, 6 months, and it didn't sell where they pulled it off. And they deserve to have a conversation. At any time, any person can come into any market, any area and take over any of those markets or areas. So you just become the master of that farm, that market, that area, that neighborhood. And if you stay top of mind and communicate with them, you could earn their business. Some
Yeah,
of them
absolutely.
are ready to go now.
Yeah, once you make a template for yourself, you can use yours and they just, you know, you do it really quickly. And then I stick it in like the, you know, an F folder with staple my business card and leave them.
There you go.
So, mhm.
Perfect.
And
Awesome
then
job.
yesterday's training class, Jimmy and I showed you how to maybe just print just 4 pages of the whole thing and then send them a QR code to get the full on presentation. They can see all 91 pages if they want to. Right?
Absolutely. That's next. I got to get with Whippa. Whippa's great at that stuff. She's already done a QR code. Thank you.
Lauren, what is Y? Is that you, Go Girl? YGG?
Yes.
I'm a little square. You got to bring me up to speed. Louisa, you raised your hand earlier. What'd you do, stuff? What'd you do? What stuff did you do?
Yes, can you hear me good?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I was actually tallying my numbers on my notes. I sent out the 25 messages, 1 wrong number, 1 bought a home, 1 who is this, 1 getting pre-approved for a second home, 1 cash buyer said they want to finish their project that they're working on now before buying another investment one. 1 sales consultant for a new community in Plant City, 3 lenders that I reached out to because I am planning on doing also a buyer seminar sometime soon. 7 didn't reply and 8 people said all is good.
Wow, that's great responses.
Yes. And then I think mainly the thing that I've never really done is ask for referrals. So if you have any insight on like, you know, you could have like a, hey, how is it? How is everything? Is all good? Whatever, but then ask for a referral.
You know, one of the things I'm proud of, and I think it's kind of cool to say, you know, we're the number 20th century 20, largest century 20 in the world. And we have a network all across the world.
Sorry, I have it on the speaker. I'll take it off the speaker.
So
Okay, go ahead.
we're the 20th largest century 21 in the world out of 14,000 offices. So we have a network. We can help you move anywhere in the world or the country or the state. Because people don't know that. That's quite a mouthful. And you can say the 20th largest century 21 in the world, not in the state, not in the United States, in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And it just tells, well, I didn't know that. I actually put it in my
In the
email.
world.
Number 20 in the world. And we got connections all over the world and the United States and Florida. So if you're moving anywhere, I can be your resource and hook you up with somebody locally who can help you out. And that's all you need to say.
The other thing that I like
Right.
to do, the other thing I like to do. when I-
Also another,
But what I like to do when trying to ask for referrals, I don't make it about them giving me something. I make it about me giving something away, helping. So I always say, look, you know me, I'm a hustler. I'm always working really hard and I've set a really high goal. I'm really looking forward to helping at least 10 more families this year, 10 more families that could use a new home, 10 more families that could use access to their equity, 10 more families that could use my resources that I have available to me. So if you know of anybody, please let me know. Can you think of anybody right now that I might be able to help and serve this new year? So when you make it about service and about giving, it doesn't sound as salesy as asking them, who do you know that you can refer me? And the greatest gift you can give me is your referral. Like, look, I'm looking to help 10 to 15 people. I want to help as many families as I can, but I've set a goal to do 10 more this year. I've got some great resources. I can help them with renovations. I can help them buy a home. I can help them access equity. I could help them get to that next level of their life. Who do you know that might be able to use my services?
No matter what state or country they're in.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's super true. Also, another benefit that I got from last week, both from Thomas and from the morning meeting that Chris and Jimmy did, is revamping the open house thing. So I'm going to an open house right now for one of my listings, and I finally got signs. 2 years in, I'm finally getting signs, and I got 2 feather flags. So I'm really excited to, see how that goes. Because I know me personally, I've followed open house signs like to wherever it was whenever I was just driving by. So I'm glad that I got a few, and that's about it.
Awesome and amazing. You're building confidence. I love it. Jessica, you got something to say? Your microphone's, oh, you're muted. You can say no.
Do you want me to say anything? I didn't necessarily make contacts like that this week, but I did go on a vacation, so that was fun. I did finally, just this morning, I got a contract. I got an executed contract that I've been waiting on for like 3 weeks. I've been negotiating. They're past clients of mine. We're under contract for 1.275. I'm very excited.
So can
And
report
I
the agent
have,
now?
what's that?
Can I report that agent now?
No, you can report them after we close. That one came with a funny story.
If you guys didn't hear this, Jessica, tell them what that agent asked you. There are multiple offers on a $1.2 million house. And the listing agent called and said what?
She asked me for a photo of my clients.
Look at Joe's face. Guys, that is so wrong. I can't even fathom. It's called fair housing. You cannot discriminate on anything, and there's no way. And I'll tell you right now, we're one of the top brokers in Florida. So FAR has special meetings with us, and the head counsel for the Florida Association of Realtors had a meeting with us in the beginning of the year. Not FAR, HUD is actually sending out spies in the marketplace to trick you and ask you questions to see if you flip up and do something you're not supposed to.
Yep.
Right. Kat just forwarded me some articles yesterday that are in the Supreme Court things going back and forth. where
They
there's a lot of
They call and ask questions about a neighborhood and demographics in a neighborhood. They ask random things like that try to get you to say something that could potentially incriminate you or be discriminatory. So just be on the lookout for that.
Hey, Jessica, tell us what a sundown town is. You had another one. I never knew this.
We had a lot of racial segregation situations this week. One of them was up in Zephyr Hills. I took clients to new construction. They were literally ready to sign the contract. The new home agent was writing up the contract. I stepped outside to make a phone call, stepped back in, and my clients called me over and they said, come here real quick. They took me out on the back patio, closed the door, and they're like, we know that Barbara's worked so hard on this contract, but can you please tell her to stop working on it? We can't buy here. And I'm like, okay, what just happened in the last 10 minutes I was gone. And she said my client or my fiance talked to a friend and told them we were buying in Zephyr Hills. And this is an African-American family. And the friend said, you can't buy there. That's a sundown town. And I said, what is a sundown town? Turns out in the 1900s, it was literally a town where white people lived. And when the sun went down, they would harass the Black people to make them leave. They came there, they worked during the day, and they were not allowed to live there. And that's a sundown town. And so they found out that Zephyr Hills is a sundown town, and they didn't feel comfortable raising their family there. And I had to tell the new home agent this, and it was really, really something. But they just this week actually came back and said, we've done more research, we feel more comfortable, we'd like to go back and see Barbara. So I was like, oh my God, what is a sundown? I was just grateful that they felt comfortable enough telling me this. I had never heard of that. So
I've
that
never
was
heard of it. And it's a shame that it happens in 2023.
I've never heard of
it was a
either.
shame. Yeah. It's embarrassing for Florida that we even have situations like that, but
Well, it
yeah,
could
so
be
that
the-
was
It could be just the history of the town, and then that history being something that was prevalent, and finding out that you have kids that find out that that's the history and that's where they're raised. They needed to do more research, but after they did the research, they felt more comfortable. So
They felt
obviously
more
it's not a
comfortable.
current issue.
if
that's
you
going
Google
on.
it, there's 3 in the state of Florida, I guess, and Zephyr Hills is one of them. Gulfport is another one, which is one of the most widely accepted towns now.
Yeah.
So that was strange. And the other one is Ocoee, but I don't know where that is.
Well, Okeechobee.
But
Oh, yeah.
So I learned a lot this week, even though I didn't make contacts. I had a lot of experiences in the real estate market. So
Well, Jess, let me ask you, did you make any type of new contacts at all or any type of follow-ups? So you had a busy week. You were working on contracts, showing buyers, taking a vacation. Did you make any type of reach outs, follow-ups or contacts during this week while you were doing all that?
yes, I did. I had new clients referred to me by other realtors actually. So I did make new contacts with new buyers this week. One of them is coming in March, so I'm gonna set an appointment with them. And yes, I need to do my CMAs for my past clients that I said I was gonna do a long time ago.
Well, the reason I ask is just as a reminder to everybody, it's okay to be busy and it's okay to not have the opportunity to do the new contacts. If you have enough business, your main focus is your follow-up contacts. If you have a full pipeline, don't neglect the pipeline of people that are there ready to do business. You need to be doing follow-up with them. Don't put new people in your pipeline that you're going to ignore. That doesn't make sense. So that's why I was just asking what you had done, if you had still done any of that, because that's where your focus needs to be. If you have the active business, focus needs to go on the follow-up.
Yeah, and I haven't done social media in a while, so I finally made a new video yesterday and it is going well. So I'm getting back into my groove of social. It's been since December, so I was happy about that.
Hey, Jess, the first contract you and I were talking about, the $1 million one, you had to make their offer look a little better, right? Because they were in some competition. Can you share with that what we discussed?
Yeah, we talked about removing their appraisal contingency, but these buyers actually didn't want to do that. So I'm a little surprised that we got it under contract because she said there was one that was higher than ours. But we did, we added an additional deposit that was non-refundable after the inspection period to put a little more skin in the game. And we did end up raising the price a little bit for them, which was good. But I had to have a conversation with them. We have multiple offers on this property. We have to make it a little more competitive here. And we talked about different ways to do that. And some they agreed with and some they didn't. And
It was also a VA mortgage too.
It's a VA mortgage, yeah.
Yeah, and the other offer had a bigger earnest money, and this one had smaller earnest money, and they don't have the cash, but they were going to sell stocks. So a proof of funds here's my stock analysis. It says I got $3.5 million in stocks, which I can sell in a day and have it in my checking account tomorrow. So that's just as good as a proof of funds from a bank. And Jessica didn't realize that. So here's my stock statement. Look how much money I have, right? And I can get that anytime I want. So just because I don't have the cash in my checking account, I'm not going to take it out of my stock market today, but I'll do it whenever I need to. That's proof of funds. Very good, Jessica. Okay, sorry. Are you in a position where you can talk? Sorry, Trout. She was the winner of our CMA contest last week. I think she did 29 CMAs. Chris, is that right?
Yes.
So I want to hear what she did. Wow, she did 29 and what kind of responses she got. But I don't know if she's on the class or not. She's in here muted with a static photo.
Hello.
There she is.
Good morning.
So you won the contest. You did 29 CMAs in a 7-day period, which is awesome and amazing. How did you select where to send CMAs and what kind of responses did you get?
I went to some of my friends and a lot of them were touch points that I had in the neighborhood. And some of them were RSP requests that we've had in the past and we just follow up with a new CMA.
How long did it take you to run off 29 CMAs?
The first few took me a while and then I could get a hang of it. I started grouping them by size like Chris suggested and that, eased off the speed of it. But the first ones took me a bit because I was like really, trying to analyze them really well because I didn't want to, I wanted to be on point as much as I could. I didn't want to just put a random, range in there and be completely off market and then turn people off by it. So it took a lot of analyzing at the beginning and then then I got the hang of it. I did better, but the first ones took a while.
So out of the 29 you sent, how many wrote you back? How many connections did you make out of 29?
13.
Wow. That's almost half. That's a pretty good investment of time, right?
Yes.
30, get 15 responses. Find me another place
Yep.
where you get that kind of response on a lead.
It was, those responses weren't that positive, but at least they were, they looked at them, and people who took the time to open them and go through it loved them.
Right. And that's our job, right? We're just taking shots. Chris, I don't know, don't put me in a sports analogy position, but, or Mike.
Said,
What
oh,
do you
you're,
expect on every time that they will ball to batter and he
yeah,
only
you're
hits it?
you're looking for at bats. That's it. Just give me an at bat and give me a chance to swing at a pitch. Put me up to the plate and give me an at bat. That's all I'm looking for. I may strike out sometimes, but even in baseball, 300 average, getting a hit 1 out of 3 times is still puts you in the Hall of Fame. So similar kind of analogy. That's all I'm looking for is just 1 out of 3 and I'll still be in the Hall of Fame.
That's what I meant to say. Jackie, we haven't heard from you yet. You always have something to contribute. You got your stuff done in 2 days with us.
You better be ready for Jackie. So we better be ready for her because she had a monster week.
Yeah, life is what happens when you're making other plans. Like I plan to pretty much stay home with my husband because of everything going on. And that didn't really necessarily happen. On Sunday, I took out Miriam Gates and William, who Miriam used to be a realtor in our office. And I wrote a contract for them, and we are under contract on a house in Punta Gorda. I know it's crazy, but it's where we ended up finding one that was affordable, brand new home on half acre for $365. I mean, you can't beat the price down there right now. So that's where they ended up. On Monday, I had 2 listing appointments, both of which will be going on the market in the next week. On Tuesday, I got calls from people I had been working with, and I have 2 new other additional listings. So that's 4 listings this week. 1 buyer. And at 10 o'clock this morning, I'm meeting with a buyer that lives in the park that Miriam and William have their 5th wheel in, that said, hey, I want to do the same thing. And so I'm meeting with her to take her and show her home. So that's 4, 5, 6 deals this week.
Wow.
And yes, I made 25 text messages because I'm anal, so sorry.
Well, you can do that in your lunch
How
break.
were the conversations? Well, like, so you sent text messages out. What were your text messages like? You're just basically sending a quick message of, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are things going? How did those?
Right, yeah, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are things going? What's new? And then I got about 15 back of the 25 saying, hey, it's great to hear your voice. I know what's going on in your life, which I get a lot of. And then it was like, I saw the CMAs that you've been sending, because I have been sending CMAs to my past clients and people, and they're surprised at how much equity they have. So I think I have another appointment next week with someone that's going to talk about possibly listing. They were going to list before when the market was insane, and they weren't sure they wanted to do that, which is a good thing. And the weird thing is yesterday, I had a dentist appointment yesterday afternoon, and my dentist lives in Waterset, and his house is on the market with a Keller agent. And he said, can you just take a look at this? And I said, most certainly. And I said, well, he said, what do you think the problem is? And I said, you're chasing the market down. And he said, what? And I said, I'm just being honest with you. I'm not saying anything bad about your agent, because I do know the agent personally. And I said, but when you started, you were really high. And I said, you were pricing it like it was 6 months ago, when it isn't 6 months ago. You may want to talk to him about that and see what he wants to do. And so he said, well, what I want to do is maybe, and I said, I don't want to discuss this with you. I can't, but let me know if you need my help with anything. So
Let's be clear, you can. He approached you.
right.
He approached you. You can talk to him.
You can talk to him about this. You can't talk with him about his current listing and the status of his listing, but you can
Right.
talk to him about any future listings and how you service your clients and what you would do. And
Right.
that's the easy way. Well, when I list your property, I do this, 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 and this. When we talk about pricing, we talk about it like this. And if I was, when I list your
Yeah.
home, I would do this and I would do that and I would move this or I would put that. But you just can't talk about their current listing or agent, but you can talk about the status of one moving forward and any status of any listing agreement moving forward in terms of a listing agreement moving forward.
Mhm.
If they approach you, you can't.
Yes, he
approach-
has approached me and he did ask me some questions and he can see the kind of work I do just because my phone rings nonstop when I'm in there. I had to start turning it off. So he knows that I'm busy and it's a $600,000 house in Waterset. And, you know, but I think that they priced it like over 7 when they started and it wasn't in a market where it was over 7. It just isn't. So
Now, what do you guys hear in the market? What are customers saying about interest rates? Are you hearing a big objection about that, or are they just over it? It is what it is.
the people that I'm working with are okay because what they're hearing is it's a normal interest and that we're back to a normal rate. And I thought it was interesting, the one listing appointment I had on Monday evening, the agent or the customer brought her neighbor over who was an agent for 45 years in Arizona and owned her own brokerage, a Century 21 brokerage, by the way. And so she started talking to me and she said, now I told Pat that a good agent is going to want a full commission. It's like, thank you for, I didn't have to say anything about the 6% because she was selling it for me, which I wanted to just hug her. And we just started talking about everything. And she told her, she said, this is a normal market and you need to be prepared for that. And, you know, I thought she was very knowledgeable. I enjoyed having a conversation with her, but she helped me get that listing as well. So that was really nice.
Good. Good.
Well, can anybody want to give any feedback? Like Craig just asked, what's some of the feedback you're getting from the people you're talking to? When you're not going to them, asking them for referrals or business, you're just saying, hey, how are things going? And they know you're in real estate. What's some of the feedback you're getting from them? What are they saying about the market? What are their initial comments about interest, about home prices? What are you hearing? Anybody want to chime in and say some of the conversations that you've had?
Don't all jump in at once.
Elizabeth, you raised your hand. You want to unmute?
So this past weekend, my husband and I were at dinner and we know the manager at the restaurant. He just relocated here from California and he has been waiting to look for a house because he wants the interest rates to go back to what they were. So I had a little discussion with him about that and he came and sat at the table with us. So then I just started letting him know that we are now in a normal market. And what's going to happen if he continues to wait in the Tampa Bay area, the houses are going to continue to rise in value. So he might put himself out of the house that he really can afford. So he took my name, number, and we've been talking back and forth, and hopefully I'll be able to help him get into a home. And I suggested that he talk to a lender, one of the lenders that I know well, and he was very open to that. So I'm just hoping that he will continue the conversation, and I will be seeing him frequently because we go there a lot.
So my question would be to him, so you want interest rates to be back the way they were? And my statement would be, no, you don't. Let me tell you why. Did you try and buy a home last year when the interest rates were 2.5%, 3%? Most of them say yes. Okay. When interest rates were that low and you tried to buy a home, how successful were you in buying a home? Because you're still trying to buy a home now. So you obviously didn't buy one. Why? Because you couldn't compete, because I couldn't offer cash, because I wasn't willing to pay 50,000 over, because I wanted to inspect the home, because I wanted an appraisal, because I wanted some protection, because I wanted some comfort. Like those are all the things. If you wait for interest rates to go back down to 2.5% or 3%, number one, they're not going to go back that low. It's not going to happen. Number two, if you wanted to wait till that happened, we're going to go back to the same market we were in before, but it's probably going to be worse because we have less inventory right now. Before we just had a high demand issue. It was a lot of demand from buyers, and we still had a decent amount of inventory. It just sold really quick. Now we don't have as much inventory, and we have the same amount of demand from buyers. So if we have interest rates that drop, the buyer demand is going to go through the roof, and there's not going to be enough homes. We're going to be in the same position, and you're not going to buy a home again because you're not going to be willing to pay cash. You're not going to want to pay over asking. You're not going to want to waive appraisals. Right now is the best time for you to buy a home. Let me tell you why. Let me show you why. Let me get you in contact with a lender. Let's buy the interest rate down. Let's get some seller credits. Let's take the time to make the right decisions. Let's ask for the repairs to be done. Let's have the appraisal protections. Let's get you in the home you want because you can actually sleep on it and think about it.
Those
Let
are
me read
great points.
The economist that I get to know from every morning. Here's this thing, starter shortage. From 1976 to 1979, 418,000 entry-level single-family houses were built. 34% of all new homes constructed were starter homes. In the 1980s, the numbers fell to 314 from 418. That's still 33% of all new homes built. In the 90s, it shrank to just 207,000 as opposed to 314,000. And in the 2010s, about 150,000 a year. During the just completed 2010s, starter homes averaged just 55,000 homes a year, or just 7% of the new residential construction. And there's something we need to talk about on that because it's a little tricky now because the builders have changed the game, right? So they're putting houses in the ground, but they're not putting them on the market. Chris, you talked about this the other day too.
Yeah.
Right. So like Mangrove Point is an example I drove through the other day. There's 85, 90 homes up, but they're not being marketed because they're not ready to be sold yet. The builder won't commit to a price today for what is going to be 6 or 8 months from now for when they have to sell it. Because it might be up more, it might be less. So there's a little funniness in those numbers, but from 55,000 new starter homes a year, starter homes being the Lennar type of homes, we're not doing what we need to do to build the inventory back. So we're going to have this problem for a while.
And then what you're seeing from a lot of the investor side of things, if you drive around Riverview, Ruskin, Waimama, you were seeing tons and tons of new apartment buildings. So they're replacing the starter homes that someone can buy with apartment buildings and forcing more people to rent because they can't afford. So we have a duty to have the conversations with people to find out how we can get them into a home and how we can get that affordability for them. And it can be programs like a down payment assistance program that gets them the cash they need to get into a home that they can buy something that's in the 300,000 range, like an FHA product. There's a lot of opportunities for us to do that, but it's our duty to bring them those opportunities so they're not forced to rent a 2-bedroom apartment for $2,500 a month and they can get into a home they could own for less than that.
Mm-hmm. Lots of value you guys have opportunities to bring right now. That's why we got to get you talking to more people so you can bring more value. And that's really what we're talking about. Yes, even single family rental communities. There's one right here behind the Winn-Dixie in Apollo Beach.
Yep.
It's a 48 unit. It's a single family rental community. They're building all these homes, they're townhouses, but they're single family still, and they're for rent only. So there'll be no homeowners in there, but they look like homeownership.
Anybody have any other successes you want to share?
Anybody have some pain that you need a little prodding to get over the edge, so you do it. Carolina, I think you had your hand up earlier. Or were you hiding? See, that's my Zoom etiquette thing. Camera's not on, agents in the bathroom, walking around making breakfast, but they're on. Gigi, again, go ahead.
I just want to, I apologize for not addressing the text that we were supposed to do. I wasn't at the meeting on Monday. I took that day off and I honestly didn't know what the assignment was, but I agree that sounds pretty simple. So I felt bad that I didn't even address what we were supposed to be doing for the week.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because on Beggins Agents Facebook, that the morning of that class is repeated and you can watch it again. So if a lot of agents, they can't make the 8:30, they can go home, they go to lunch at noon and watch it at lunch. So that's kind of an excuse, but not really an excuse because you can watch it on demand. And then Angela.
I know, all my fault.
Mhm.
I apologize.
I'm not faulting, it's saying it's there for the taking. You just go to Beggins Agents on Facebook. And it's a replay every day. Louisa, your hand is up.
Yes, I wanted to also mention that last week I had called every agent that had a pending contract in the neighborhood of my listing and asked if they had any rejected offers, and most of them said that the offer they accepted was the one that they. So I thought that was interesting.
Can you change your mic or something? I can barely hear you. It's a very,
Oh, sorry, because I'm driving. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me better?
much better.
Better?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I had is that last week I had also reached out to every agent that had a pending contract in the neighborhood that I have a listing for. And what I found interesting was that the offer they accepted was the only one that they received. So in this micro market, there's no multiple offers currently. And I think that has to do with the interest coming from out-of-state buyers more than people that live in the area.
Yep. Yeah, the out-of-state buyers guys are crazy because they're leaving. I was talking to somebody the other day. My neighbors 2 doors down just built a house too. All the vacant lots in there are pretty much gone now. They're moved from California. They're paying cash. It's $1.2 million house. They waited 8 months to build it, but it's just a drop in the bucket. Another guy just bought a house over here 2 years ago for $1.2 million. Didn't put that one on the market, bought this one over here for 2.3 million, paid cash. Now he's putting that one back on the market, and it's a joke. He bought it for $1.2 million 2 years ago. Now it's $1.8 million. So there's still a lot of greed in the marketplace too. And that's why it helps us to educate. That's empower, educate, and encourage, right? So it doesn't get any easier from here on out. It's going to be more complicated because we got to go counter the forces of greed in the marketplace. And it takes education. And a lot of agents don't take the time or have the knowledge to educate them the way they need to be educated. So the burden is going to fall on you, which is why we got to make more contacts now, because we're not going to hit everyone like we used to. When the rates were 2.5% and you only needed a 5% down, a lot of people could buy. But now the lending standards are stiffer and the interest rates are higher, and the people need more income to qualify. So it's going to take more opportunities to get the same number of deals, but we're prepping you for that right now.
The Mike Clayman says, I have a couple paying $2,500 a month for rent. How do you help overcome fear of long-term commitment? Well, so I would just basically change that basis point, or just make them think of the fear of the commitment in a different way. Like, so you're not afraid to pay $2,500 a month for the rest of your life for something that you will never own or get anything out of, but you are afraid to pay $2,500 a month for something that you will not only own, but you'll be able to take advantage of the appreciation in that home as well. And if you ever fall on hard times, you'll be able to rent it out to cover that asset and be in a better position. I just want to make sure I understand correctly.
And I'd add to that, Chris, because what happens with an annual rental? What is it when an apartment, if you're
It
leasing
increases, it goes up.
every year, it goes up 3 or 4%. What happens with a fixed rate?
Minimum 1.8% to 2%. It's going to go up every year. So not only that, your fixed rate stays the same, your asset just increases in value. You get the appreciation. And then if you, like I said, if you ever fall in hard times, you can turn that into a cash flowing asset or make sure it's covered. Make sure we don't talk about price, because they're going to say, well, I got to pay a $300,000. You're not paying $300,000 for a home. What you're paying is $2,500 a month, and you've been paying $2,500 a month. So there shouldn't be any issue with you continually paying $2,500 a month. Let me show you all the benefits you get when you pay $2,500 a month on your home rather than someone else's. You're paying a mortgage either way. You're either paying yours or you're paying your landlord's.
Right. So when the mortgage rates go up, the rent rates go up, because the investor who owns the house is not going to rent it at a loss. He wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah, and tell them, hey, the long-term commitment. What's the long-term commitment? How long you been in a rental that you're in now? Or what's the longest you've been in a rental? Because the average homeowner moves every 5.4 years right now. That's average. So what's the longest you've been in a rental? Probably 3 to 5 years. So you can be in this home for 3 to 5 years, and that's about what it takes to be able to break even with normal appreciation. And we're blessed to be in the area that we're in and not experiencing normal appreciation.
On top of that, they also have the security of not having to move out if somebody doesn't renew their lease, or they decide to sell that home and use, because they have better use for the money. So
you have a dog, and you can paint the walls, and you can redo the floors, and you can make it yours. Big stuff. Okay, anybody else? We're coming to the end here. I will make sure everybody has a chance to speak. Be proud of yourselves, guys. Maybe if you did something. Okay.
I'll say something, Craig.
Okay, Lauren.
been having lots of success with open houses. I have like 5 listings and I'm doing them, and other agents in the office are doing them, and we're doing it with a lender. And I got 2 new buyers, excuse me, out of one of mine last week. And WIPA had a lot of success. She had her lender, we had our lender partner there. They were able to qualify a buyer on the spot. And so at this particular one she was doing, she thought another listing I had would be a better fit. And she's taking them over to see that one tonight. And so hopefully it'll work and we get to keep everything in-house. So it is working. That was my jam back in the day when I first started open houses and door knocking. It's like, it's a cattle call. That's all it is. People will come to you. There are so many people that do not have representation or a lender. So if you can do an open house with a lender, and 9 times out of 10, the lenders will bring refreshments and they do the marketing, the sign, the flyers, co-branding. And, it's also somebody to talk to if those, for those that feel uneasy about being alone, but it works. That is the easiest path of least resistance. And it just works. It's, an old standard going back to the basics. And
well, I'll tell you, I agree with you, Lauren, and every office is making a hard push to get more open houses. I know Chris is sending them out, and Julie's sending them out. Thomas is sending them out. Just because you don't have a listing doesn't mean you can't do an open house. Right, David? Right, David's holding $900,000 open houses right now, and he's new in the business, doesn't have any business. Well, you go with $900,000 deal, it kind of makes your day, right? But go back to the training class Chris did, not this Wednesday, but the week before. He did a hands-on, boom, 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 boom. This is how you do a proper open house. And it starts on Tuesday and it builds up to the event on Saturday or Sunday, right? So spend the extra time. If that's your mojo and you want to do open houses, do it.
At least give yourself an opportunity to get listings out of it, because the point of the open house is not to sell it. And it's not necessarily even for the buyers that come through it, because some will be not represented, some will be, but you have no control over who comes in. What I do have control over is how I market that open house, how many doors I knock on, how many homeowners I talk to, how many people I tell about the value of the open house and how it may have affected the value of their home in that neighborhood. And if they're interested in having a conversation, or this weekend is Pick Your Neighbor Day, why don't you come over and get a little more FaceTime, or doing an 8-week mailer door knock flyer program where I make sure I get in front of them for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So that's what you can control. I can't control what buyers come in. I can't control if they're represented. I can't control if they write offers, but I can control who I talk to moving up to the open house to try to get another listing out of it. And that's where you start to create the power and you take control of that scenario rather than just hoping that something comes through. Because Lauren, you are 100% right. You have so many opportunities to talk to people. You will generate conversations like crazy. But if you take just a little bit more power there and start going out and talking to people, you'll create more.
Yep. So I encourage you to go back and watch those classes from not this Wednesday, but last Wednesday. I have to look at the date. But Angelique said there's recap emails out on every Monday. So check her emails and just go back 2 weeks and you'll see that class was really good.
So we're basically at the end here. Just a reminder, if you didn't do your five text messages a day, the 35 or 25 for this week, 35, depending on how many days you're working. If you didn't do the 5 messages a day, reaching out to your sphere of influence, your past clients, whoever you wanted to send it to, you got the rest of the week, and you have all day today, all day tomorrow, and all day Sunday to hit that number.
We're talking an hour today, an hour tomorrow, and you're done.
Yep.
Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, get it done.
No friction. No friction, no objections. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. How are things with you? Simple little message, start a conversation, pop your face back up, make sure that you get some FaceTime with them, remind them who you are, get back in front of them.
Yep.
You
That's
know what else is good about those open houses? Because I was, you know, a few weeks ago, I was short with my contacts, and in comes a horde of people. So you instantly make up your contacts by doing an open house. So there you go. And also I also always do Facebook Live videos while I'm at the open house, and people will engage with you on Facebook. So that's more contact. So just have an open house.
That's right. You create the opportunities, and let's make sure that you're doing that. Don't just sit and wait for the buyers, create the opportunities. And that's exactly what Lauren does.
Yep. All right, guys, thank you for playing the game, even though you're not reporting like we want you to report. In an ideal world, you'd be doing that. But if you're making any effort more than you would have done if you weren't part of this group, you're a winner. Right? If you're just sitting by, standing by, not doing anything, you're a bump on a log. So if you're doing more, keep going. We'll get through the rest of it, right? And Monday we'll have a whole new task for you. We'll probably switch gears a couple different ways and see something else we can do to stir it up. Any closing comments? Okay, so unless nueve media. All right. Happy Friday. If you didn't make your calls, make them. You got spend an hour today, spend an hour tomorrow. You're done. Take Sunday off. All right. Happy Friday. Thanks, everybody.
Happy Friday.